Bear with me. Wonderful. All right, so everyone, welcome to another webinar with me, Hadriana, the Money Navigator. I am really honored every time you register and choose to be part of the information that I'm sharing, because the truth is I put these webinars together based on the questions that you're asking, based on the feedback that I'm getting. So be sure to stay all the way to the end if you are able to, because then I can answer your questions one-on-one. And you'll get all of the good stuff that I've got prepared for us for tonight. So this evening, our session is all about mastering the foundations of wealth, specifically for women. Now, when I was putting this together, I thought to myself, I hope you're not expecting me to come on here and say, well, spend less than you earn and don't overuse your credit cards and, create a budget. Because I mean, that's the stuff we all know. And I say no in quotation marks because on a logical level, we know what we're supposed to do with money. Using money is at its core addition and subtraction. And we know what happens when we subtract more than we have and we end up in the negative. That's where credit cards come in and lines of credit. That part, we, for the most part, can master if we've made it successfully through kindergarten, maybe the first couple grades. It's not calculus, it's not rocket science. What I really want to share with you are the fundamental building blocks of actually creating wealth, not just managing your money, but creating wealth. And when we can master those cornerstone elements, when we're able to actually understand what those building blocks are and how we can move them, how we can shift them around, that is when we're actually going to be able to move confidently into wealth and take steps that actually help us move in the direction we want to go, move based on what we want and not what the circumstances dictate. It allows us to actually create wealth on our terms in ways that are authentic to us, all that really good stuff. So I'm going to just give you a brief overview of what we've got in store for today. So first, we're going to talk about the essentials. What are those essential cornerstone elements of creating wealth? Then we're going to talk about how we can create that mastery, and then we're going to put it all together. Now, I do have a free resource that I will make available when I send out the replay. And yes, you're here, so you're getting the replay. Your bonus is your Q&A one-on-one with me at the end of our session today. But that free resource is going to help you put it all together, and it is a great accountability tool that I think many people could use. So after all of this, we're going to have a Q&A. I'm sorry for those on the replay. You don't get to be part of the Q&A because I will stop the recording at that point. But for those who are here live with us, we're going to jump right on in. All right, so the essential cornerstones, let me let someone in here. The essentials of building wealth. If you can master those three elements that I'm about to share with you, if you can master those three elements, you are well on your way to creating the wealth that you desire. So let's jump right into the essential cornerstone items. First things first, mindset. We need to create a healthy money mindset. That's number one. And I'll tell you why in just a little bit. Second, you need to build a great knowledge base. You need to build a great knowledge base, and no, that does not mean that you have to know it all. Okay. And three, you need to choose and implement a strategy or two or three or more. It is important, and I deliberately said choose and implement, because many of us choose strategies, we fiddle around with a strategy, but we don't actually implement. So we'll talk about how we can get this done as well. Mindset, a healthy money mindset, plus a strong knowledge base and beautifully aligned strategy together, they create wealth. I'll say that again. A healthy money mindset, a strong knowledge base, and a well-aligned and implemented strategy together create wealth. So if you need to leave, you can leave now because I've shared with you the 3 elements. However, don't go just yet because now I'm going to show you how we're going to put it all together. Let me tell you why these 3 are so important. 1, mindset builds belief, and that belief instructs our behavior. If you're taking notes, you're going to want to take this down. A healthy money mindset is going to build a strong belief in your potential. And that belief in your potential is going to instruct how you behave about money, around money, as you interact with money, as you talk about money. You can also have an unhealthy money mindset, and that also is going to build belief, and that is also going to instruct behavior. So choose a healthy money mindset. That means if you're seeing behavior around you, like you're misbehaving with your money, you need to check what beliefs are creating that behavior. And that knowledge will allow you to see, well, this specific area of my money mindset needs to be brought in alignment with what I want to accomplish. For example, if every time you see your friend that is, I'm using a lot of air quotes, so when I send out the audio, you might not be seeing it, but listen for the air quote intonation. If every time you see that friend who seems to be well off, every time you see her or him, you just feel a way. You know what I mean? You feel a way because they drive by in the car and you feel a way. Or you pass by their house and you feel a way. There's no basis for it because this person has always been kind to you. You guys always talk well, but you still seem to be feeling a kind of way. Check yourself. There is a belief simmering somewhere in there that is turning you off of that person's well-off status. And don't ever buy into this thing that money changes people. It does not. Money don't change nobody. It amplifies and magnifies because now you have more options, but it doesn't change anyone. So if that person was your friend when things were rough and you guys were in the trenches together, and suddenly the only thing that's different is that they seem to have, accumulated some money, made some changes in their lifestyle and what have you, challenge your mindset, because your mindset, whether it's healthy or not, is creating those beliefs, and that belief is instructing your behavior. Check yourself. And trust me when I tell you, do not waste energy trying to check anybody else when it comes to wealth. Their money mindset is their business. Their spending patterns are their business. You have enough on your plate just to master mindset for yourself. So leave everyone else out there, deal with your stuff. And as you move from one success to the next, you get to influence other people's actions, hopefully by them being inspired by all the great things that you're doing with yours. So mindset builds belief and it instructs our behavior. Second, why knowledge as a cornerstone? Knowledge builds confidence, and that confidence instructs our actions. When we're confident, we move differently. It's like walking in heels. Do you know the person who can walk well in heels? Because they just walk like they got it. As opposed to the one who put the heels on and you're like, oh no, we're not doing that. When you are in a place of, I got this, when you know it, your confidence builds up And then you are able to take action based on what you know. Now, here's the tricky part, and I'll probably touch on this a little later as well. The tricky part here is you do not have to know everything there is to know about everything for you to have confidence. Why is that? It's kind of like calculus. All kind of physics calculations, all kinds of ipsum dipsum, all kind of formula goes into how a plane flies into the air. Does that mean I have to know all of it for me to take a flight? Not at all. I trust the pilot. There's a pilot who hopefully understands all of this good stuff and is able to move. There is someone who knows, and that person who has the knowledge is at my disposal. Do you need to know everything there is to know about money? Not at all. You just need people in your corner who do. Do not try to do all the reading. Listen, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I took an exam recently. That exam was to help me get a designation in financial counseling for myself because, I'm always upping the ante when it comes to service for my clients. While I was studying, I'm telling you straight, there was some areas in that thing where there was one particularly ornery formula. And I'm like, do not have space in my brain for this. You know what I did? I said, forget about it, because all of my experience in the space tells me that there's an app for that. There is a program that works out all these things for me. I don't have to do it. What did I do? I left it. And it didn't even come up on the exam. Don't tell anybody, but it didn't come up on the exam. Why am I sharing this with you? I know what I need to know, and I know where to get help with all the rest. Go find those resources that will be your knowledge base. When you have that great knowledge base, you can move with confidence. Not sure what's happening with interest rates? You can move with confidence because your mortgage connection knows. Not sure what's happening with the stock markets? You can still move with confidence because your knowledge connection, your financial advisor knows. Not sure what's going on in your head there, playing around, knocking about. Your financial coach, that's me. I can help you because chances are I know. So building that knowledge base is always essential. And once you have that great knowledge base, your confidence is like through the roof. And then your actions will follow. It's a really beautiful thing. And I have to say, I love seeing the confidence cape on my women. No, you're not a superhuman, because I don't expect anyone to have to be that. Do not fall for that. But you are pretty awesome. And when women wear confidence, it's the ultimate sexy in my mind anyway. So wear it well, ladies, wear it well. And third, our third cornerstone, why strategy? Strategy builds options. And these options help to instruct the results that you get. So our third cornerstone, strategy. Don't fall into the trap of trying to do what everyone else does. Not every wealth building strategy is necessarily for you. Not every aspect of wealth building strategy is necessarily for you. So finding not just strategy, but aligned strategy helps to build your options, because I see too many women taking too many strategies off the table and leaving us with too few options for building wealth. So here's something that I dabbled in a few years ago. So I decided, you know what, let me try my hand. Okay, I'm a traditionally trained financial advisor. So I got all my licenses and stuff to trade stocks, bonds, all the derivatives, all of the financial instruments. I was registered to do that. And to this day, I really enjoy doing it. Our portfolio was large for our client base in that traditional financial advisory office. And I love watching the movement of stocks and bonds and financial instruments. I mean, it was amazing to see how one government makes one 5-minute soundbite announcements and the markets just start to do their dance. Oh my goodness, it was just fascinating for me. So I said, you know what? I haven't dabbled because I didn't maintain my license. I still have the knowledge, and I don't do this for anyone. So I'm like, you know what? Let me start some trading. So I set up all the accounts and I started doing some trading, reading charts, making decisions, sometimes by the minute, sometimes by the day. And I did that for a while. I did it for a year or so. And I'm like, I mean, I made some money. I didn't make like all kinds of tons of money. I made money and I was happy with the experience. But let me tell you, trust me, I have a life. I am I am not sitting there looking at charts all day long trying to see which one making an M and which one's making a W. I don't care. And as fascinating and as wonderful as that experience was, I knew that that way of participating in the stock market, it just wasn't for me. It didn't fit my lifestyle. It didn't fit how much exposure I wanted to be there. It just wasn't for me. Does that mean that investing in the stock market was not a strategy that I wanted to implement? Not at all. I buy stocks. I still listen and I make trades and what have you, and they still send me slips for my taxes. I know because I'm looking at it over here right now. So learn and dabble a little bit, put yourself out there to consider some strategies. As you participate in various strategies here and there a little bit, you'll find the thing that fits. You'll be able to understand what your options are. And as you implement those options, your results will come through in the way that you want them to. Options. I don't know any freedom that is better than the freedom to choose. And we might take it for granted that, yeah, you have a choice in the matter. But trust me when I say having options is like the best gift you can give to a woman. Knowing that you can choose for yourself is a phenomenal blessing in and of itself. Do not take that for granted. So again, the 3 cornerstones: mindset, it builds belief and it instructs our behaviors. Knowledge, it builds confidence and it instructs our actions. And strategy, it builds our options and it instructs our results. All right, so we will put it all together. And when it comes to women in particular, with many of the women I've coached, many of the women I've been able to observe in dealing with money, working towards wealth, a lot of the friction, and that friction usually leads to burnout and, just throwing your hands up and like, that's it, that's all. A lot of the friction comes down to one key element. And that I've found is trust. Now you're thinking, how is it trust? It's trust because we as women need to learn who, what, where, how to trust as we maneuver in a system that really was not created for us. It wasn't created by us, and it was not created with us in mind. We need to learn to trust, and I'll give you 3 key elements where that trust sits. But when you're going to the bank to have a conversation with the rep that is hoping you maybe start an insurance plan or something, that piece of hesitation that you're feeling, explore it and find out, is that actually grounded in a lack of trust? Beneath the fear that you're feeling, beneath the anxiety that you're feeling, even beneath that niggle of excitement that you may be feeling, what's holding you back? You may just find that there is an element of trust that is lacking when it comes to finances, and I'll tell you where it's lacking in three key areas. Those cornerstones that we talked about, as your mindset is challenged, you need to trust your gut. Now, I don't know about you. I was brought up in a very logical environment. We trust knowledge, what we can see, what we can touch. We have faith in, the strength of a nail to hold a chair. We believe in that. As a result, a lot of, and I don't have anything against that, don't get me wrong, because yeah, the nail needs to be able to hold up the chair. One thing that I noticed was that as I grew up, I lost a connection to my intuition. And this isn't woo-woo stuff. This is knowing what you know and having no proof, no logical proof to explain it. I have come to learn that oftentimes I know what I know. I can't explain it, but I know it. And whichever power that you subscribe to, we, especially as women, we need to know when to listen. And you always listen to that gut. I'll tell you something I discovered actually just recently. I cut my thumb. I'm not going to show it to you. It's healing nicely. It's doing what it needs to do. But I noticed that my body has yet another tell because, and it's happening now. Anytime I remember the experience of having cut my thumb, I feel my body react in one specific area, like every single time. So I challenge that feeling because I'm learning to trust my gut. I challenged that feeling and I thought about something else that had happened to me. And I felt that I was having another sensation. Don't take it lightly when I say to you, when it comes to wealth, your body likely will give you some instruction. You need to understand what you're feeling. So sure, you're feeling like you're afraid. You're scared. What are you scared of? What is that sensation? Your body will tell you whether it's a fear that should hold you back or whether it's a fear that will move you forward. The cut on my thumb elicits a reaction. It tells me that about the circumstances that surrounded me getting cut, because I don't have the same reaction when I think about a surgical procedure that I had last year. Very much, I mean, my body was still scarred and I still have scars from both. However, my body tells me one was something that, I got through it. It was for a great reason. The other one, my thumb, well, let me tell you, it was complicated, right? So we need to understand what our body is telling us. We need to understand what spirit is telling us. We need to understand that sometimes there's no logical reason, but we need to learn to trust our gut. How does that manifest in our wealth journeys? Sometimes we know we should be doing something. We might not be sure what it is. So we go and we explore. That one was, this cousin was talking about crypto, and that one over there, your brother-in-law's sister cousin godmother, said they did so great doing susu. I don't know. You guys call it susu. I think some cultures call it patna. We call it susu in St. Lucia. Others call it partner or what have you, where everybody throws money in and we collect. There's a banker, woo, woo, no interest, but very exciting, I'm sure. Which one do you choose? Because they're both viable ways of, getting some money in your pocket. Let your mindset trust your gut to indicate which one to do. And it might not be that one is wrong or right. It might just be that now is a better time than another time. Learn to understand what it is that you're feeling. When you can trust your gut, you can better support a healthy money mindset. Okay, I know we're running quickly because I need to get this all in for you. Second, you need to learn to trust the source. Ah, I don't know how else to say it but to say it. There are a lot of shysters out there stealing people's money. And I think at the end of the day, it comes down to who can you trust? Where can you go to get knowledge that you can actually depend on? We need to learn to trust the source because not only don't you have to know it all, you just can't know it all. I'm going to give you another example. So I decided I'm going to do, I was going to learn how to do all this day trading and stuff. Yes. So once I decided that I didn't want to do it myself, I didn't want to be reading charts every day, what have you, I said, okay, this version of this strategy is not what I want to do. Let me find someone that I could pay to do it for me, because there's great money to be made doing day trading. So, Bridget, I went and I found people, advertising their services, to help manage your account, your trading account. They'll charge by the percentage and what have you, whatnot. Well, I found one. Actually, I found more than one. I found one that was going to do this for me. And once the account started losing money, I couldn't find this someone anymore. Oh dear, what's a girl to do? I had a choice. I could choose, I could say, you know what? All of these people just stealing people money and I'm not going to do this. No way, no how, not anymore. Or I could also make another decision and I could say, well, this was one bad experience. Perhaps they're not all that way and I can try someone else. Well, needless to say, I tried someone else. I tried various combinations of me doing it myself, someone telling me what to do, and then I do it and all that. At the end of the day, I'm like, oh, it's not for me. But what it came down to was I needed to be able to trust the people and the resources that I was putting my faith in. If you do not trust the source, I don't care how good the results are, you're not going to be happy. The whole time that you're doing whatever that strategy is that you decide to implement, you are not going to be happy, even if you're making money, because you're constantly going to have this feeling in the back of your mind that this person might cheat you, this person might steal from you, this person doesn't know what they're doing. You're going to be double checking, triple checking, questioning them, all kinds of stuff, just because you have not conquered that essential element of trust. As you're building your knowledge base, find reputable websites to learn from. These Facebook groups, these online people that are giving you all these things that are sure to work, be careful. Use trusted sources. Believe me, believe it or not, your bank is a great source if you're looking for investing advice. If any of you want to start investing, you could actually try the investing simulator that's inside of most bank options. If you go into your online banking, you play around a little bit, go to their investing section. There's usually the option to create a practice account. It's a great way to invest, get real-time responses from the market, but all with monopoly money. It's fantastic. I love recommending it to anyone who wants to try. You get to place trades, you get to buy and sell. That's what I mean by placing trades. You also get to research stocks, and these are like real life companies. This is reality based. The only thing that is not real is the money that you're using. So you're practicing, you're thinking, well, I think Tesla might be a great thing to buy. You're going to use your monopoly, your money, you're going to purchase in air quotes, a certain amount of Tesla stock and see what happens. You're going to learn to look at these information sheets and make sense of them. I love it. I love doing it. I've ran a few groups of women through simulators, and I think it's fantastic. But if you want to do it yourself, you do it through your bank's investing segment of their apps or their services. Find that practice account. So a bank is a very good place. Investopedia is a great source. Get Smarter About Money. That's a Canadian source that really has lots of information. Go figure out what you want to learn and start with the things that you're curious about. Don't turn it into an SAT test. Don't turn it into an exam. Make it fun. What are you curious about when it comes to money? Like all of these announcements recently about interest rates, like what is the connection between interest rates, inflation? Then they talk about deflation and the prime rate and all of that. It's interesting to see how they all correlate. Maybe you can start with that or something else that you're curious about. Cryptocurrency is not a bad word. It's a wonderful thing. Go find out, learn something new in that area as well. And as you learn, as you gain knowledge and you learn from trusted sources, you're also going to know what you don't want to know. It's like, I'm good. I don't need to know all of that, but you'll know enough so that you can trust the source. Another thing that I like sharing with my women, when you're finding people or professionals to support your wealth journey, you need to know enough so you can tell when they're just playing the fool. You need to know enough about what you're doing and what we're talking about so you can tell, this one did not sound right, moving on to the next person. And I have to say that when you do, and I'm not saying if, truth is along the journey, we're going to come upon less than trustworthy and individuals, opportunities, or what have you. When you come upon these situations, do not let it be a reason for you to stop. Let it be a reason for you to learn, apply, and move on. Channel that feeling. Remember what I said about trusting your gut? You probably already had some kind of inclination that maybe this wasn't the right fit for you. You had an experience with this source that says definitely not the right fit. What was it that your gut was telling you before or during? And you will learn to quickly get through the trust building process when it comes to you and your wealth. All right, we gotta go on. I know you probably have questions. We'll take them at the end. The last part in supporting those essential cornerstones in mastering wealth is that you need to trust the process. That's going to be most apparent as you implement strategy. There are some of us that have no business buying crypto right now. The thing is, we want to go from where we are to the finish line. And if you have read my book, I'll tell you there's no such thing as the finish line. You'll know this. If you haven't, get a copy, plug. But if you want to get from where you are now to the finish line in yesterday time, you are going to try to find strategies that promise you rapid acceleration very quickly and will take you from here to 100 in no time flat. Ladies, depending on where you are in your journey to wealth, run away from crypto. Because the person who invests in crypto must first have a great base on which they can depend just in case the doo-doo hits the fan. That doesn't mean cryptocurrency isn't a great investment, but it's very volatile. What you doing in there? There are those of you who want to flip houses. Okay, I done that too. I love it. I love doing it. It's a great strategy for me. Some of you have no business flipping houses. You don't know baseboard from hardboard, from MDF, or anything else, run. And you don't have a knowledge base that you can trust that'll get you through it. Why are you flipping houses? Right? So if you are at the point where you're ready to implement strategy, choose a strategy where you can trust the process based on where you are in your wealth journey. Trusting the process might mean slowing it down. Trusting the process might mean giving it time to work. Not every strategy is going to take you straight through in record time. It's kind of like if I were to use the investing analogy again, there are GICs that give you a slow but sure burn. And then there are the alpha stocks that, these companies are coming up, the managers see that there's great potential and they can kind of anticipate a really quick increase in the valuations. Both of them are one strategy, but how you implement it means different things for you. So if you have a good emergency fund, if you are very good at managing your monthly day-to-day budget, if you have a healthy savings plan in place already, then maybe you can start talking about some alpha stocks where you can see some, some things happening great for you. If the kids' education is already paid for, or at least the savings is a regular contribution, it's happening like clockwork, that's not your challenge, great. Let's take a little bit. We used to say, in one of the offices where I worked, we used to tell clients, you know what, we're investing part of their income. We would call it investing your paycheck and your play check. So a portion of everything that they were saving would go towards, the steady Eddie. This is for retirement. We're building responsibly and all of that. And then a small portion was, let's see what this is gonna do. The exciting play, let's see, have fun. If we lose it, which we never do, at least that was not the plan, but it had a higher risk, right? So if anything happens and the sky falls, you didn't put everything in that bag. So experiment. Choose the right strategy that's aligned to you. I won't go into all the areas of alignment, but choose the strategy that's aligned to your personality and your stage in the wealth journey, and trust the process. You can have one strategy deployed in several different ways, or you can have several different strategies that really work for your personality. For example, I learned that I don't like when other people are in charge of real estate. So one of the strategies we use in real estate is using or investing with other people's money. So essentially, if you don't have all the money for a down payment and mortgage and house and all that, you bring partners on who have the cash flow, but they don't want to be part of the day-to-day operations of an investment property. So we flipped a house and we brought people on board, all done with very comprehensive agreements and all that. So don't be playing with people that say, yeah, man, trust me. Not so. I don't care if you're my mother, you're signing a document. I digress. Anyway, we brought people on board, made sure that they're getting a competitive rate on return on the loan that they gave to us, and we worked the project. That's one way. Another way is to be the money partner and be hands off with the project. I don't like that part. I don't enjoy not being able to kind of, steer the ship. I know that. And one thing that I know as well, because we're coming out of one right now, anytime, and that's just aligning the strategy, anytime I'm getting involved in a project where I am not directing how things are going, I do not use other people's money because I don't have the assurances that I like to be able to speak to these people to say, okay, you're lending money for this project. I can't do anything about it. My hands are tied. And like I said, we're coming out of one right now. Choosing the right strategy is essential. You must learn to trust the process. So there's more on that. Maybe I'll do a webinar on strategy because there's so much more that we can talk about. But again, learning to trust a system that has not been created for you, was not created by you, and does not have you in mind for the most part, it's hard to trust, but you must learn to trust. And that might mean sometimes you get burned, but don't burn those bridges. Learn, don't burn. Learn, reassess, reapply, and keep going. That is essential. All right, finally, how do we put this all together? I've just shared with you that the essential building blocks, mastering those foundations of wealth, require you to, get that healthy money mindset, create a good knowledge base, and apply, implement great aligned strategies. How do you put it all together? I wish I could tell you it's something that was one and done. It's not. It's something that we will be working with and nurturing all our lives. I recently had a conversation sharing with someone that, wow, I'm facing another challenge. That's me, the financial person, the money navigator, facing another challenge. It had to do with one of the properties. I'm like, what do I do? The decision has to be made, blah, 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 yeah. And I remember saying to them, one, I'm always counting my blessings because, well, guess what? I have more than one property. Why am I going to complain about that? But the other thing was this: no matter where you are along the wealth journey, you will face challenges. And that means you're learning, you're growing, you're coming upon things that help you problem solve. It's building your experience base. So depending on where you are, what you're doing, at various times, different challenges may mean that you're focusing more on mindset, not so much on strategy. Or it may mean that you have to stop and go back and learn, get back in the books and build that knowledge base. I hate to say it, but it's not first work on your mindset, then accumulate knowledge, and finally no, it's everything all at once, all the time, consistently. The difference is you will be focusing on different areas of that foundation depending on what you're dealing with. You may have to really focus in on your mindset as you're struggling to do things that have never been done in your family line. I know I certainly do. When you're coming upon opportunities that no one else, like none of your friends have this, nobody in your family ever had this, nobody on the block ever had this opportunity, you're coming up against this and you're like, well, I don't know how to handle it. That's going to be a mindset thing where you're going to have to open yourself up to not just the possibility of it, but making it actually happen for yourself and for your family, for your next generation, for many generations to come. I think about Madam Walker and what she had to go through when she was creating her hairline, when she was doing her products, when she was a wealthy Black woman in a place where all she knew was hustle and slavery. Can you imagine the mindset work that she had to do to not end up throwing all that wealth away? And trust me, it is definitely a possibility. Why do you think so many lottery winners lose that money fast? The mindset has not adjusted to the fact that they're no longer, I'm going to do air quotes, no longer poor, right? So if you put a lot of money in the hands of someone with a poor person mentality or mindset, that money will reinforce poverty. It'll go. if you give all kinds of opportunities to the person who has a mentality or a mindset that engenders lack, the complaints will never stop. It will never be enough. So putting it all together means that as you explore, as you're learning, as you're growing, you're going to focus on different areas. If you are, for example, dealing with a lot of debt. If you're dealing with a lot of debt and you're in a cycle where every time you start doing great, then you fall off the wagon and then you end up maxing out the cards again and you get frustrated with yourself and you call yourself names and you say things to yourself that are not pretty, I know. And you get yourself back in order and you move again. You're like, I'm definitely getting on a money diet. I'm using the envelope system. I'm not spending anything on the cards. You clean yourself up again and something happens. And then when you have these recurring actions, you have to interrupt it. And interrupting it is going to not be about knowledge because you know it. It might be finding a different strategy, something that actually will create lasting interruption. And a great thing that I do with my clients, learning what the trigger is so that you can interrupt the domino effect. If you know what the trigger is, you can stop the first domino from toppling. And then if you know the signs of the dominoes getting unstable, you can also find or create structures, create tactics to interrupt the dominoes falling. So again, this is outside of the scope of this webinar, but working on different things at different times means that you're going to create strategies that are going to work for you and help you maintain these healthy foundations and, just master them. You will always face a challenge. Because you have a challenge doesn't mean that you haven't mastered it. It just means that you took a bit of a trip, something happened, and, we went on. Do not underestimate financial trauma. When you're grieving, when you have traumatic events going on in your life, it shows up in your finances. It shows up in your wealth. It shows up in how you interact with money. Do not belittle how much of, the mess in the emotional aspects, the social aspects, family stuff, all these dynamics, all of that mess impacts your money. The important thing is to see that, know what's happening, and then we can strategize around it. What I'd like for you to do, and this is the resource that I would like to offer everyone, is while you're trying to work everything all at once, all aspects of building that strong foundation, it might sound like I'm contradicting myself, but start with a very simple accountability tool, and that is commit to doing one thing that will make a positive impact on your finances every day, especially if you're just starting out. That one thing that you're going to do every day could be as simple, and I do have some ideas at the bottom of the little worksheet that I've made available to you. But that one thing is something that you can start and complete in that space of time. So it might be as simple as opening your bank statement, ladies, and actually looking at it. It could be doing a visioning exercise. I love doing visioning exercises. I love seeing them actually come through and actually work and come into fruition. I remember we did a presentation for, I think this one was for teens at one of the community centers in Scarborough. And we asked them to, to describe their dream home. And a lot of them admittedly were from marginalized communities. And they struggled with this exercise, like, dream home, what are you talking about? I mean, they didn't say those words, but you could see them struggle with the exercise, except for this one young man. When he started sharing what his dream home looked like and felt like and smelled like, because those were the instructions. You know, what are you seeing? What are you feeling? What does it sound like? He drew in so much detail that he actually heard that specific floorboard in his dream house that squeaked. And I know that this young man, if he continues with that powerful visioning ability, he will bring it into life. That's a simple exercise that you can do. What is that dream that you're looking to create? For you, it might not be a home. For you, it might be something else. Maybe it's the opportunity to start a charity. What does that look like? Maybe it's for you to publish a book to great acclaim. Well, the acclaim you can't control, but you can certainly publish something. What's that going to look like? What's it going to feel like when, I don't know if you saw my social media where I took a picture of myself and my book in the bookstore. Mind blown. What is that experience going to be like for you? What is the dream? The trick here, ladies, is you're wanting wealth for a reason. You're wanting to master the foundations of wealth because you are going to build something wonderful on top of it. The foundation is that base. What are you building on it? And can you see it? Can you feel it? You're going to be doing all this work to support it. What is it? When you know this, you're going to want to ensure that it has a good, strong foundation. Mastery takes commitment, and that commitment is for you to do that one thing every day. That commitment is for you to face the challenge and not quit. That commitment means that when you found that one shyster in the bunch that took you for a ride, you're going to clean up your bruises, you're going to patch yourself up, and you're going to get up and go again. Take steps every day that will put you in a position to build on. And as you build, you go higher, you do better, you have more experiences. Oh, it's just a wonderful thing overall. So as you work to master all of these elements, you don't have to do it alone. I know I'm the money coach, and I will give you a link to connect with me and have a free session that will come. But find your village, ladies. Find that girlfriend, that cousin, that husband. They might be a good thing. It isn't always the best thing. But find that someone that can be in your corner to help you, to help support you as you build wealth, as you take the journey. Find that someone and go together. It's going to be more fun. It's going to be something that you can look back on and say, yes, I'm glad we did this. And I believe you can go further when you go together with someone that you trust. So it doesn't have to be me. You might not even have the money to pay somebody to do this for you. But if you can find that village, you can certainly build and grow together. Just in case you find that you need a little more than what your village can provide, you need to talk to me. If we haven't already been working together, if you haven't already booked, because I see people here that I'm seeing next week, if you haven't already found that right strategy, let's have a free introductory call. Let's have a call. I always say it'll be worth the conversation. Talk to me. There's no cost. It's half an hour. It's entirely confidential, and you can decide, what's that sticky part that you really would need some eyes on, and I can help you through with that. We'll see if it goes any further, but I'm fairly certain I can guarantee you that a free introductory coaching call with me will be well worth it for you to help you take that next step to build that great foundation. So with that, a quick recap. Again, those foundations of wealth, mindset, knowledge, and strategy, and they all can be built on trust. They must be built on trust. I hope you all have enjoyed our presentation. There I go. I barely have time for Q&A, but we're going to call it a wrap for tonight. And thanks so much for joining me.